As we approach our 20th anniversary, the UN human rights system is, I believe, at a pivotal moment in history. Human rights are so wide-ranging and all-encompassing and sadly still so commonly abused that clearly we need to become bigger, better, and stronger. Increased interest shows a growing recognition of the integral role human rights play in peace and security issues. The UN human rights system is starting to register more strongly on the international stage in other ways. The Human Rights Council has been very much in the limelight with an increasingly broad and rich array of initiatives, venturing into new areas and dealing decisively with a number of country situations. Its Universal Periodic Review, UPR, process successfully concluded its first round in March 2012 after an unprecedented examination of the human rights situation in all 193 UN member states, every one of which, without exception, actively participated in the process. So far, I've spoken about the increase in demands for our service, increase in interest in addressing human rights situation as a positive development, which I think has gained momentum, particularly in the last few years. So now for the bad news. Just as the world goes through a number of seismic shifts with huge implications for human rights, including the events in North Africa and Middle East, as well as the economic crisis that continues to ripple across the globe, the voluntary financial support for the UN human rights system is diminishing instead of growing. There are a number of reasons for this, of which the global financial crisis is, of course, paramount. We are making efforts to streamline processes that are under our control and to look at alternative sources of funding, including the corporate and private sectors. We have never gone that route before. This is an area I intend to explore aggressively over the next 2 years to supplement our income and tap new areas of expertise. But the main source of funding will inevitably be and should be from governments, all of which have a stake in the global human rights system. Despite being the ultimate cross-cutting issue, covering a vast and complex area of subjects and affecting the very core of governments and authorities' relationships with their populations, human rights remains the poor relation of the international system. There is very little fat to cut, and I fear unless more donors, both governmental and private, come to the rescue, the damage to our operations could be considerable, and the much-needed momentum gained over the past few years risks being halted in its tracks. We have managed to open new country offices in Tunisia and Yemen, insert human rights officers into the wider UN operation in Libya, and we still hope to set up a regional office in Egypt. I currently have a list of 18 countries where it has been requested or suggested that I add a human rights advisor to the UN country team, but I have not been able to afford to provide them.